You don't love someone and leave them in pieces, because how the fuck do they fix themselves? Because it takes two people in a relationship, and when you break me and you leave me, what do I have?
Lights shut off, and it's my turn to settle down.
You don't just say, I'm done, and leave. You don't just say, I don't care anymore. There comes a point where the desire to leave becomes greater than the need to stay. Value your time and find someone who values your presence and is willing to show you that you are worth the change needed to make a relationship work. You can say you're done, but what does that mean to idle feet? You do nothing. You say, I'm done. They hurt you again. You forgive them. Cycle repeats itself. That's insanity. But you're happy. 5 years. 5 years of trying to make a relationship work, knowing that it could not withstand the test of time. I was trying to show him that I was worthy to be loved, that I wanted to love him. He was my first love. I loved him. I loved everything about him. His imperfections, his weaknesses, his strengths. I loved him. And when you love someone and when you're in love with them, their whole being is beautiful to you and you accept them, flaws and all. But what you should never accept is a cycle in which someone continues to disrespect you, dismantle you, disempower you, and diminish your worth. Sometimes people will show you how much they love you. They will show you how much they care about you. They will show you how much they do not think of you. And when they show you, are you paying attention, or are you still painting an image of what you believe to be love? What are you telling your friends? He hurt me so much, I started to lie and tell people that I cheated on him. But I never cheated on him. I just wanted to hurt him. I wanted him to feel the pain that I felt. There was a void. He wasn't trying to fill it. He didn't care to fill it. In fact, he made the void even more deep. And the depth of which our relationship, the problems that consumed our relationship are endless. There was no trust. There was inconsistency. If consistency breeds success, inconsistency breeds insanity. I was looking at him, look at me, trying to understand how we can make this work when relationships require two participants. A lot of people don't know I'm sensitive about my shit. And when I got naked for you, every bit of me that got naked before a camera to let you know what I felt like, that's real. I never want a young woman to go through what I went through. To become so vulnerable as to where you let your wall down and you take off your clothes for someone that you were in love with. For 5 years, I never took off my clothes for this man. Whether you believe it or whether you believe it is irrelevant. I never took off my clothes for this man because we were too inconsistent. We were not stable. Dysfunction at best. So for me to take off my clothes would be stupid. But it was that one moment where I thought things were different, where we were actually moving into the correct path. Maybe someone had an epiphany. Maybe it were me. Maybe it were him. And in the process of getting naked, he was still lying to me. He was still lying to me. And luckily, nothing came of that night. And I hope you understand what I'm saying when I said nothing came of that night. Because if I were to have gone all the way, my confidence would have been completely diminished. And I'm not about feeling worthless. So to my ladies, use discretion when you take off your clothes, because once you take them off and when the actions are done, you cannot undo them. Be cautious, be careful, use discretion. Because see, the day after I decided to get naked for him, he got a phone call from another woman who was trying to understand who I was. So I had to look at my ex-boyfriend explain to another woman who I was, how small I felt, how unimportant I was at that moment to her and him. He lowered the volume on his phone. He stepped out of the room. I almost broke a glass table. He will never understand what that situation did to me as a woman. This is why I don't trust men. This is why no one is let in. No one can penetrate those layers. No one can ever get past the barriers that I have put up as a result of spending 5 years with this man. But then February 14th was the end. It was the end. And I told him, I said, do you realize that one day, like, I can get enough strength to leave your ass alone? And I don't think he got it. See, when you stay too long, they take you for granted. So then when you say you're going to leave, it falls on deaf ears. It was something about feeling like another woman who was absolutely worthless to the man that I had fallen in love with. But I honestly think our paths may not have been intended to meet. And when you force things, you have to be mindful of the things around you in your environment and in your circumstances that show you this may not be the way. And to the other woman who felt the need to question who I was, if you ever have to put yourself in a position where you have to question who another woman is, you should leave.
Promise that you will sing about me. Promise that you will sing about me when the lights shut off.